4 artists, 3 pork butts, 2 cooks, 1 judge on this special episode of Cooking Backstage Lockdown. My name is Mark Watson and welcome to Cooking Backstage, where normally we cook with a special guest from the music industry. However, we are in a lockdown here in the Greater Toronto area, and I thought I'd have enough episodes to get me through this lockdown, but I ran out. So, doing a special episode where we're keeping the artist completely separate from the cook. We can't bring anyone into our bubble. So, yeah, we're doing this special episode. Let's start with the most important part, the artist. We've got Stacey Kay, Mike Celia, Tafari Anthony, and Sarah Smith. They're each going to give their opinions on operating as a solo artist or operating as a band, and which one they prefer. Before we get going, a few quick thank yous. First of all, my man Dio for this shirt. We're celebrating Black History Month. Dio was a guest previously, and so I'm very proud to be wearing this shirt. Thank you. To my neighbor, Andrew Strongs, who's helping us with the cook today, and for supplying the display boards. He made this one for me for Christmas. Thank you, Andrew. A big thank you to our sponsor, High Performance Management Solutions. And we have a new sponsor on board, Factor, the foundation assisting Canadian talent on records. Thank you very much, guys, for being on board. I'd also like to thank my good buddy Dave McKeithran for letting us use one of his songs. We're going to be using the instrumental version of his song, I Will. You're going to hear it a few times during the episode. Thank you, Dave. Please remember that there are descriptions to all the artists, our sponsors, and anything we're talking about in the description below. So let's get to the cook, and there's a bit of a story that goes with this. Back when things were normal, I was working at a music festival. And anyone who works at a music festival knows that the catering can get a little tired after 4 or 5 days. So I'm backstage with my business partner Ryan, and we're lining up for catering. And let me just say to those who think backstage is glamorous, it's not. It's dirty, people working their butts off. There's no big party happening back there. People who brag about being backstage are just posers. In fact, the number one goal of these people who get backstage is to position themselves backstage so the people in front of the stage see them backstage. It's really the adult version of, I've got something that you don't have, na 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 na. So, we're getting a bit tired of the catering, and we decide, let's go out in the festival grounds and see if we can snag a meal out there. We find this fantastic food truck that's serving pulled pork. They've got the smoker going. It smells fantastic. We get a meal, and it was incredible. So as a guy who loves smoking meat, I start talking with the owner. I want to know all his secrets, his techniques, the whole deal. And after a few days of prodding, the food truck owner lets me in on a few of his secrets. And one of the big secrets is that he doesn't do the pulled pork in the smoker, he does it in the oven. The smoker's just for show. I couldn't believe it. It tasted so smoky, and he said the smokiness comes from the sauce. So for a while now, I wanted to try cooking pulled pork several different ways and see if we can tell the difference. Which brings us to today. We're going to cook 3 pork butts, seasoned exactly the same, but 3 different ways. We're going to do one in the smoker, one in the oven, and one in the slow cooker. Then we're going to pull in neighborhood celebrity and #1 music fan living in Canada, Rochester Mike, and we're going to have him taste it and tell us which he thinks is the best pulled pork. So here we go. Enjoy. So it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to get our pork shoulders, pork butts. I'm going to refer to them as pork butts from this point on. It's the same thing, okay? So we're going to season all 3, let them sit for about half an hour to an hour, and then we're going to start the smoker first, give that a head start, and then we'll start the slow cooker in the oven. So we've got our 3 pieces of meat from J&G Meats, and they're all equal sizes. Very simple process. We're going to use a Texas rub, which is just salt and pepper. Oh yeah, look at that baby. Beautiful shoulder. It's bone in. It's got a nice fat cap on it for flavor. It's going to be awesome. So you're always going to prepare the underside first. You want to cook it with a fat cap on top. So we're going to start seasoning the bottom first. Our rub, very simple. It's called the Texas rub. Coarse salt, coarse pepper. Use mustard as a binder, and mix them together in a shaker so you can easily spread it. Okay, equal parts. Start with our mustard as a binder. Lather that on. You don't even taste it, it's just a binder. It's just a binder for the seasoning. Okay, and your salt and pepper mix. And you're just going to evenly sprinkle that on, like a typewriter. Get all sides. And there's one. And there we go. We've got one ready to go. Okay, so we've got our 3 pork shoulders, pork butts, seasoned. We're going to put this one in the oven. We're going to put this one in the smoker, and this one is going to go in the slow cooker. So we're all set to go. We'll go head over to Andrew's and get her into the smoker. Beautiful Canadian morning. Look at the hockey net even in the background. And we're all set to do our smoke. Right over there. So we're using the Pit Boss smoker today. This is my good buddy Andrew's, our neighbor. Mine's packed away for the winter, and it's just not as good as this one. So right on the rack.
Yeah, there's a drip tray down below filled with water.
And again, we're going to run it at 270, and we figured what, 8 hours?
Yep.
So we're looking for internal temperature of around 200. All right, so we've got one in the slow cooker on low, preheating the oven to about 265. It's going to be a long, great smelling day here in our house. All right, oven's at 265. We've got a water tray in there just for moisture. All set to go. While we're waiting for the pulled pork, let's hear from our artists. I've asked them each the same question. Do you prefer operating as a band or as a solo artist? I want to be clear, I'm not asking them if they prefer performing as a solo artist or as a band. Most would say band because it just sounds better. I'm talking about operating their business solo or as a band. A solo artist can have a band, they just hire them. I'm talking about having equal partners or being a sole proprietor. First guest artist is Stacey Kay. She is a singer-rapper from Toronto who has appeared on America's Got Talent and who has toured worldwide. Here is the incredibly energetic Stacey Kay.
Do I like being in a band or being a solo artist? There are some pros and cons for sure. The first thing people don't think about is when you're a solo artist, I feel like people think you have this like team around you at all times. I am not Beyonce yet, so I don't have the team. Sometimes when I'm hired to do a gig, it's literally just me. So just because I sang at the gig doesn't mean I have like friends to hang out with after. There's been many times where I've literally like been singing on stage. Thank you everybody, thank you. And then I go backstage and I'm like, doopy-doopy-doo-doo. I literally have no one to hang out with. Being a solo artist though, you for sure get paid more money. People don't understand that when there's a full band there, you know, it might be more expensive. They just pay you the same thing. So when you're in a band, you have to split it all the ways. When you're solo, cha-ching. Your bank account only. Another thing we don't think about is that when you're driving for 14 hours sometimes, it is amazing to have friends in the car. I remember I'd be driving in the middle of the night and the only way that I could stay up and actually like not fall asleep, oh my god, my dog. I'd be driving in the car, I don't want to kill us, and then I'd be blasting like Creole Lady Marmalade, bum, bum. I'd be doing full choreography at the wheel, and then everybody's just snoring in the back. They just got used to it. Also, when you are picking a place to eat, there's always drama when you're in a band. I remember my band would be eating at a McDonald's and I'd be at a oh, you're done? Okay. And I would have to drive to a grocery store and make like a stupid like salad. One time I asked for a Big Mac container and I remember I mashed up avocado and tuna from the grocery store, and the McDonald's employee was so mad at me. Who wants to eat avocado and tuna alone? You get to have your friends with you eating dinner every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then there's a flip side. You have to imagine being in like a box, like a little box that you're driving around for 14 hours and you see sides of people that I don't even think they've even seen before. There's times where I'm grumpy or tired or crazy or hyper, and not everybody has the same schedule. It goes all over the place. As a solo artist, you can make all your own decisions and you don't have to argue with anybody about it. I was in a band for so long and we would always have votes, and the majority of the time I would lose a vote. But it's also fun to have a bunch of opinions, even if you have to fight for it sometimes. Being solo is awesome, sometimes for creative reasons, sometimes for, you know, money reasons, but having those people around you, no matter how crazy they are, is truly an amazing experience. So I would say my final answer, what's better, being a solo artist or being in a band? I would say being in a band. But my bank account would say the opposite. I'm Stacey Kay. You can follow me at Stacey Kay Music. That's Stacey Kay Music. I also have a podcast called I Have to Call My Sister with my sister, who is just as crazy as I am. So follow that at I Have to Call My Sister. Bye, guys.
Our next guest artist, you may recognize him from episode 2 of Cooking Backstage. He is a singer, songwriter, and chef, and he's appeared on The Dragon's Den. From Toronto, here's the multi-talented Mike Celia.
Okay, some of the pros and cons of being in a band. Pros, support. You have a group of people all supporting each other, lifting each other up, pushing each other through on tour, having a team of people all invested in the project, not just working on it, but invested. They're part of the music. Ideas, just like this great pool of ideas and support. Also, having a band to play with. It's amazing. Not just any band you hired. Like, these are the only people that are right for the job. That's magic. Cons of being in a band are butting heads. Having a lot of minds on one project can be trying. It can be difficult. It can really wear you down. Pros of being a solo artist are you're the boss. You get to make all of the decisions. The final decision rests in your hands. I'm a solo artist. Why is this so hard? I love being a solo artist. Okay, here we go. Pro of being a solo artist. Probably the best one. You can always hire a band. You have that option. I, as a solo artist, hire musicians all the time. They're not random people. They're my friends. They're people I care about. They're people who care about the music. So it feels like a band, even though, you know, at the end of the day, we all work on different projects and come together when it makes sense. Cons of being a solo artist, you're all by yourself. I think I'm gonna choose. It's tough. I pick solo. I pick a solo artist. Just because it's like, maybe it's because I'm what I'm used to. Mostly, I tour in a lot of bands, and I love it. But as the artist themselves, when it comes to creating original music, I like being a solo artist. Maybe I'm selfish. Maybe I just like being the boss. I don't like being anyone's boss. My answer is solo artist.
I love living in Canada. You just need to not act like a third world country.
You end up feeling like you're in a marriage without all that marriage stuff.
I would like some help. Please. Somebody help me.